Good morning. We are walking with Jesus through the book of Mark, and today we are in a very unusual passage in Mark chapter 8, verses 22 through 26. Today we're going to take a short look at one of Scripture's one of its strangest accounts. We have seen Jesus heal a lot of people as we have gone this far into the book of Mark. He has healed people on a number of occasions. He's put his hands on them, sometimes simply spoke at a distance and they were made well. And these people evidently, each time that we have read about, were healed instantly and were healed completely. And so we have kind of come to expect that if Jesus intends to heal someone, it's kind of a natural and expected thing that that healing would be instantaneous and complete. And then we find this in the village of Bethsaida. As Jesus enters in to that village, they bring to him a man that was blind. Evidently, this man was completely blind. And they expected, whoever they was, they somehow expected Jesus to do something for this man. They had seen him heal on a number of occasions, and here was a man obviously in need of healing, and so they brought him to Jesus. They had confidence that Jesus could do something very significant for this man. But instead of Jesus immediately giving this man his sight, Jesus took him by the hand and led him out of the village. Was that for privacy? Well, maybe. But we haven't ever seen him do anything like that before. But nevertheless, he leads him out of the village. And then, this is kind of what I'm picturing is happening right here. They get out away from the village, and then Jesus turns to him and spit on his eyes. Now, we've seen a case that's somewhat similar to this, not too long ago, when Jesus took spit and touched the tongue of a man who was unable to speak. But in this case, it just says that Jesus spit on his eyes. And then Jesus took his hands and put them on the man and said, "Do you see anything?" And the man said, "I see men, for I see them like trees walking around." Okay, here again, we're kind of left to interpret exactly what he's saying. Here's what it sounds like. He could see vague figures of people, but he couldn't see any detail. But he could detect movement. He could see them move. And then Jesus laid his hands on the man's eyes, and the man was then completely and finally able to see clearly. What is this? Was Jesus unable to heal on the first try? Was the spit a less than perfect way to bring healing? Some have suggested that maybe at that time they thought that spit had some kind of medicinal value. That's been suggested, but we really don't see any evidence of that. We have no record of anybody really believing that. But anyway, just spitting on the man's eyes, it brought about some sight, but not all sight. And then Jesus laid his hands on those less than perfect eyes, and the man could see clearly. And then Jesus said to him, now picture, they're outside the village, and Jesus says to the man, "Don't even go into the village." Now, we've seen Jesus make attempts at anonymity before. Jesus never was trying to seek attention in the healings that he was doing. But he tells this man not even to go back into the village. It's as if he's saying to this man, don't tell anybody about this. And that we have seen before, though we may not understand exactly why. Anything that we would say would be pure speculation. But then we get to this point in the story where Jesus has spit on the eyes and then touched the eyes, and the eyes were finally healed, and he tells the man not to go into the village, and then the story ends. That's it. Neither Matthew nor Luke nor John have any account of this story. Is this strange? Well, yes, I think it is. I think it is a strange story. And we may kind of stretch to figure out exactly what's going on, but here is my best advice to anybody taking too much of a look at this. Is it strange? Yes. Accept it. We don't always know, well, even today, we don't even know how God always works in our lives, but we know that he works. In this case, we don't understand exactly what Jesus was doing, but we know that ultimately Jesus brought complete sight to this man. We don't know how he works, but we know that he works. So leave it there. Again, Jesus is amazing. Now we have gotten down to chapter 8, verse 26. And next week, when I come back to you again, we're going to take a significant turn in this walk with Jesus through the Gospel of Mark. Because next week, we see the eyes of Jesus turned towards Jerusalem. And the story takes an amazing turn. See you then. Bye.
They resound with God's own heart. Oh, let the ancient words impart. Words of life, words of hope.